Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're watching this in the world. I hope you guys are doing okay. So today we're going to be continuing on the Sweet Baby Inc. story. However, it has taken a little bit of a turn and there's two articles that we're going to be covering in here. But before I start that, I just want to say that shout out to the Helldivers 2 community. I have never seen players band together like this in the entire time I've been playing games. And I've been playing games as far back as the Street Fighter 2 days. It's honestly impressive to see how players have doubled down and just stuck to the game and not allowed politics to get involved in it. So shouts to the Helldivers 2 community. I am mostly associated with the fighting game community and I have never seen camaraderie like this in my life. So shouts to you guys. It has been a privilege fighting with you on these planets, and hopefully if the game continues down the course it is, we're going to ride into war together many more times. Anyways, let's jump on these two articles, and they're very interesting. Now, I've taken a few screenshots from them so we don't have to read the entire thing, because I don't want it to be a super long video and I want to get to the point as quickly as possible. So the first article that we're going to cover, or rather the tweets from the article, is from an individual that was the former Bungie and Pokemon Company lawyer, who went on to say that his job was to get rid of anti-woke gamers. So you can already tell this is going to be a fun one. This individual's name is Don McGowan. He was the producer for Detective Pikachu, and obviously he's had some other prominent roles. I believe he is someone that was in charge over with Destiny 2, and we're going to get to that in a little bit as well. So just for some context here, he says, I produced Detective Pikachu. My real name is trivially easy to locate, but just so it's clear, I am Don McGowan. I spent 12 years as the chief legal officer of Pokemon, and I'm now the general counsel of Bungie. This is my IMDb page. And so to give you guys some backstory, or just to give you very quick, brief cliff notes, this guy is in full agreement with the behaviors and the actions of consultancy firms like Sweet Baby Inc. So you get an idea of who we're dealing with here. And here you can see he's replying back to Alyssa, somebody that we covered last week with regards to Sweet Baby Inc. And it says, if you aren't sure this is a harassment campaign, just take a look at the content. Look at how many sock puppet accounts flock to comments on posts. Look at the language in those comments. Look at the images they're sharing. The way they're manipulating pictures of women. You know, people always say these things and never provide any evidence. And when I posted my video on Helldivers 2 and how these people are trying to hijack Helldivers, everybody in the comment section was talking about democracy and liberty. Nobody was insulting anybody of a particular faith, of a particular gender, or of a particular political leaning. But these types of people will say these very outlandish things and provide no proof. But you can see Don quote tweeted her and he said, thread, 20 years in games, 17 in the C-suit, so I am well situated to say these people blaming one consultancy for everything they don't like are again demonstrating they know nothing about the subject they purport to be discussing. They are sexist and racist. Now, one thing I will agree with him there is that Sweet Baby Inc. is not the whole problem, they are just part of a problem. People like Don and other people in the gaming industry are also to blame for what is happening to Western games. So whilst I agree with him there, the comment about saying that all of these people are sexist and racist is obviously just nonsense. This is a way to just label an entire group of people that purely want to spend their money on games that they believe to be good. He then goes on to say, and it never occurs to them that the reason nobody made games for them was because nobody wanted to make those kinds of games. Nobody wants your money because no one wants you in their environment. Take it from someone, most of whose job was figuring out ways to get rid of you. Which I think is extremely interesting, seeing that the Helldivers community has been very vocal in saying that they love the game and they love what it's doing, they love how it's keeping politics out of it, and it's basically how we want games to be produced. We don't want them to be right-leaning or left-leaning. We just want them to exist in their own world. They can have their own political system. Final Fantasy has its own political system. There are loads of games that have their own political systems. We just don't want it to mirror the real world because it's meant to be escapism. But I do find it funny how he's saying that we're figuring out ways to get rid of you. The people that purchase these games. And this is why I always tell people, vote with your wallet. And I know it's difficult to do when it's your favorite franchise. For example, I've only just found out that Sweet Baby Inc. was involved with Spider-Man. And as much as it might pain me to not buy a Spider-Man game if I find out that they're involved, the only way we're going to get rid of these consultancy firms and people like Don is that we vote with our wallets. It's not like there's a shortage of good games out there. I mean, there's plenty of good Japanese games and there's still some good Western developers that are not in business with people like this. He then says, trust and safety departments exist to get arseholes out of gaming environments. You end up creating them to get rid of arseholes because adult humans don't want to spend their leisure time with arseholes. You're a gamer gator, F off you goddamn child. Nobody wants your money, go spend it on anime prawn. And look, this is somebody that's in charge of very big franchises or has a hand in them. And he's telling you, the consumer, the person that is going to purchase the products that will essentially keep him in business, to F off. And do you know what? I think we should actually take his advice. We should just take our money elsewhere. See, what these people don't seem to understand is that the bottom line is that we ultimately control the market. If we don't put our money into something and it fails, the market will have to respond. And the problem is that people like this have won for so long. For a very long time, they have been behind the scenes, fiddling with things that we like, destroying them, and still getting their way. Now, Gamergate shed a lot of light of what was going on. We covered Anita Sarkeesian, we covered where they were putting their grubby paws, and this Gamergate 2 situation, if that's what you want to call it, whatever is going on right now, is shedding more light. I mean, these people are outing themselves. They can get all the funding they want, and they can say whatever they want, but as we saw with Suicide Squad, if the game fails because we don't buy it, then it fails. It doesn't really matter what they say. And this is why, again, I would implore you, even if it is your favorite franchise, if you want these people out of your games, if you want Western games to be free of basically being held hostage by these imbeciles, then you need to vote with your wallets. Helldivers 2 is an absolutely fantastic game because it represents everybody and it keeps it within its own universe, and it does that by waving the flag of Super Earth. So whether you are black, white, trans, gay, lesbian, or anything in between, it doesn't matter. We're going to go to an alien planet and we're going to fight the aliens together, hand in hand, brother to brother, sister to sister, whatever you want to call it. And people love it, and people are eating it up, and the developers are doing a fantastic job keeping the politics out of the game. And I'm going to read to you some of the things that have been happening in the Helldivers 2 Discord, just so you can understand how down the middle the developers are playing it, and why I believe they should be commended and what they're doing should be followed by other developers. But we're going to continue with this clown's tweets for the time being. By the way, if you're effing crying about the fact that I'm telling you to eat shit, think about why you're such a person that the producer of Detective Pikachu thinks you are human garbage, and maybe work on being less shitty. I don't know about you guys, but if a grown man talks to me like that, we're going to have issues. Now, it doesn't mean that I'm saying go and bother this man. I don't think you should. I don't think you should engage with them. I think we should have these conversations amongst ourselves. But if someone talks to me like that, yeah, we're going to have a problem. The problem now is that you are working on games that I might have invested my money in, and so I'm just not going to buy them. The problem here is that there are loads of good people that are working these companies that unfortunately they have their hands tied by people like this and people that are involved with ESG ratings and all that sort of nonsense, and they will bite the bullet unfortunately because of people like this. But again, the only way to get people like this out of our games is to vote with our wallet. He's on Twitter saying these things to people, and this isn't from 2 years ago. You can see right there, March 13th 2024. This is less than a week ago. You can't have another grown man talk to you like that and then walk into a game store knowing a game that he has worked on or a movie or anything and sit down to watch it or depart of your hard-earned money. It's just not something that I'm willing to do, and I encourage people to do the same. He then says, you complain about bubbles, but you're living in the biggest one. You dorks sit around self-reinforcing that you're somehow not human garbage. Get your mums to give you more allowance and buy a clue. I have to say I'm almost impressed with the one person who quote tweeted the original tweet and also screenshot it in case I blocked him, so you could have forever proof that he is a dork and no one intelligent agrees with him. I mean, I still blocked him because he's a dork. And that is the end of his tweets there, but I really wanted to show you guys that because this is what they think of you. They think that they could talk to you like you're like an absolute piece of crap and you'll still go and purchase their games. Now, I'll give you guys an example. There was a leaked trailer that came out the other day of the multiplayer Spider-Man game, and yeah, the gameplay looked pretty good. The idea that I can swing around the city with other Spider-Men or other Spider-Women or whatever and do co-op missions in the same fashion that Spider-Man 2 plays, yeah, that sounds great. But I am not going to invest any time or money if I find out that people like this are working on it. And I know it's a lot of work to sit there and sift through who's on there and who has been working on the game. But as I said, for the sake of saving Western games, I think it ultimately comes down to the gamers. Think of it as these guys are the automatons and we are the Helldivers, and it is up to us to spread liberty. And the way we do that is by not giving them our money. And they will malfunction and they will go away and better people will replace them. The reason that this individual and individuals like him are tweeting things like this while still having a job is because they've done it for so long and we've still given them our money. So this guy doesn't know what losing feels like. Now, unlike Malevolent Creek, and unlike the planets that we've been unable to liberate, we do not have to take random fire from people like this. The power is actually in our hands. Now, before I go on to read some more tweets to you, I just want to pull up some screenshots that I've got from the Helldivers 2 Discord to really point out that these developers are calling it down the middle and they're not allowing real world politics into their games. So this individual here says, keep politics out of video games. You guys realize this game is a political game, right? Like the entire premise of all the lore in this game is a criticism, hyper-authoritarian governments that promote nationalism to blind the population into undying faith and the ideas that of the American dream. What do you mean keep politics out? about. The premise of the law is politics. Plus, trans people, LGBTQ people existing is not politics. They are just real, not political. Yes, they are real, and their existence inherently is not political, but for what reason do you need to have them represented in the game if the idea behind the game is that everybody is represented under the banner of Super Earth? See, what I don't understand is that you seem to think that segregating yourself is going to do you favors, and I would say this to any group of people that are saying give me my own flag. It makes no sense whatsoever. If we are all united as one, isn't that ultimately what we all want? Why would you want to segregate yourself? Under the helmets of the Helldivers, it can be anyone. It can be fat, it can be muscular, it can be trans, it can be gay, it can be straight, it can be black, white, whatever color. Why do we need to point out when it's you under the helmet? What sense does that make? And do you think that you take priority over other people? Because if you are under the impression that you should be given special privileges to feel represented, shouldn't I? Shouldn't the next person? Shouldn't the person behind the monitor watching this video be given special privileges? Why is it only you? Why are you the only ones that feel that you need to be outlined and represented? When again, the Super Earth flag represents everybody. What you not understand about that? Are my words not clear enough for you? If I'm saying it represents everybody, that means it represents you as well. What part of that do you not understand? You've got somebody here who has been blocked. That's why there's white lines going through the screenshot. Will there be trans flag capes? And it says, I think that would be cool. Why? Why would that be cool? Do you think the aliens care that you're trans? Do you think the aliens care that I'm black? Why would that be cool? Pick up the gun and shoot the alien. I mean, what are these trolls or something? What is this? This person says, I've seen people requesting a trans pride / gay pride cape for the game, and while a good idea, I feel that it doesn't properly fit the aesthetic of the characters. My personal idea is that something more along the lines of a player card, or in terms of a new type of cosmetic, a weapon charm, or something of that sort. I don't know. I'd love to hear other people's ideas. I don't know how to respond to comments, but I had just wanted to throw, since a lot of people didn't particularly like the cape specifically. I don't know if they add something you don't like, don't use it, but generally I just wanted to hear some ideas. And again, why does your sexuality or your gender or your political leaning need to be represented in a game where everybody's represented? Again, why do you want to segregate yourself? What about this game is not making you feel represented? I genuinely want to hear the answers in the comment section below. I'm wagering that I probably won't hear them because this is a very small minority. The problem is that if you don't point these things out and you don't make the wider audience aware of it, these things fester and they grow. And whilst Arrowhead has been doing a fantastic job, we've seen multiple times before people that we didn't think would break under pressure. And so the reason that videos like this and videos from other creators are very important in my opinion is that it lets Arrowhead know that the majority is on their side and we are here to fight for democracy, liberty and freedom. We are not on the side of these people that want special treatment. And that is not to single out trans or gay people. That is to simply point out it doesn't matter who you are or what creed of life you're from. You shouldn't be given special treatment on a game that represents every single person. I can't believe this. It is literally 2024. Everyone should be allowed to express their true gender identity, otherwise what even is the point of playing this game? This sort of transgression is nothing short of homophobic, bigoted, closed-minded and transphobic. Add LGBT representation. It doesn't have to be major, just add trans LGBT flags or capes. There comes a point where us actual good people need to put our foot down and fight this bigotry. This is unacceptable. My point is that it really isn't that hard to be a good person and give us oppressed players a voice. We are valid and strong. The more people point out this unacceptable hatred and intolerance, the more likely we are to get our representation we rightfully deserve. Add it now. Where is it hateful to say that you are united under one banner? What do you not understand? Do you understand that the Helldivers 2 game does not reflect the real world? It is its own made-up universe with its own rules and its own regulations. Why do you think that it's hateful to not get your own cape? Do you think it's also hateful for me to not get my own cape? Should Turkish people get their own capes? Should black people? Should Greeks? How about Hawaiians? What about if you're a furry? But where does this end? If that's your idea of hateful, you ain't been to a hateful place before, trust me. You've never experienced true hate. The problem is that you've sat behind your monitor and you've sat in this echo chamber amongst people who have told you that people that don't agree with you or are not agreeing with the fact that you should have exclusive representation in this game hate you. And that's not the case. I don't hate you and I doubt anybody in my comment section hates you. I pity you. I pity the fact that you would type something like this. I pity the fact that you go to bed thinking that people hate you simply because they don't bend to your will. I do pity you, and I think everybody else does, but that pity is not hate. Yes, it's 2024, and finally people are waking up and they're not bending the knee whenever somebody with a loud voice on a small forum starts making noise. And again, for those people that are saying don't give these people attention, this is what they want, that does not work. You shine a light on things, and when you shine a light on things, it goes away. If you don't and you leave it in the dark, it festers and then it gets out of control. And that is what we've seen multiple times with our games. That is why Sweet Baby Inc. is even in our games, and all of these other people that have wormed their way into our video games, because we didn't know about it. And if we don't speak about it, more of them will infest the industry. The more people speak about it, the more likely we are to root it out, because the more we speak about it, the more we are likely to incentivize people to vote with their wallets and not buy these games. And when you don't buy these games, these companies will suffer for it, and they will have to bend to our will. And our will is simply make better games, and that's it. I mean, at the end of the day, you have the freedom to buy whatever you want, and these developers have the freedom to design games whichever way they want. If they decide to bend to the will of these people, that is their free will to do so. If they cave, if Arrowhead caves, that's up to them. But then we just say to them, okay, well, we're out, and then we'll see who wins. Now, I already know who's going to win, but play that game and you'll win a stupid prize. I was banned from the Discord for what I'm about to say, but I do not think it is that controversial. I would like this game to remain politically neutral. Someone in Discord suggested LGBTQ skins, and my response was to keep homosexual political out of the game. And I would like to make this a formal request for public support. I do not need or want political nonsense in my games in support of Trump, Ukraine, BLM, Gaza, Israel, or LGBTQ, all of which have become politically oriented. And yeah, I'm actually in support of that. And it's unfortunate that he has been banned because he was simply making the statement. But I think anybody that starts talking about these things in the Discord, they just kick them out automatically. I'm more willing to listen to this case because this person doesn't feel like they need exclusive representation. I would advise everybody in the Discord to just not bring it up. I think YouTube is a better space for it, or Twitter. But I'm 100% in agreement with this person. I don't need anything to make me feel represented. Again, I've had this conversation with people in the comments before. If we are all united under one banner, then you should feel represented. And if you don't, then that is a deeper problem with yourself that you shouldn't be taking out on developers that are just trying to produce a game that's fun for everybody. My friend got permabanned from the Discord without having a warning when all bro did was ask if there's a chance they will add LGBTQ cape or background. Dude was permabanned and even got a death threat in his DMs. I get that a lot of people that play the game are COD fanboys from Shroud and Summit GS fanbase, but dude, is pathetic how toxic this community is. All he asked was to add one thing, and for some reason everyone thinks they're going to cater to LGBTQ people, or somehow it's going to turn into politics. People just think adding one thing will completely ruin the game and end the world. Lol. I don't get it. And how is it going to separate us from being united? It's not that deep. It is one thing, which is a rainbow flag. They already got loads of other capes of different colors. I don't see how adding one rainbow cape is going to ruin everything. Like womp womp, if you believe that. I mean, it's womp womp on this post. What the hell are you talking about? Womp womp to your friend. Yes, he should get permabanned, and they should permaban anyone that's trying to bring in political leanings into this game. They have taken a hard stance, and on my videos, I've been very, very vocal, and I am fully in agreement with hard stances, because if you don't, you get the whole slippery slope argument. And I know people don't like the slippery slope argument, but it's not just going to end at one cape. Besides, if we are all united, why are they asking for a cape that specifically represents them? I mean, I am not going to be seen wearing a rainbow flag, and people in my comment section, unless they're gay, are not going to be seen wearing a rainbow flag. But one flag we can all, or cape rather, that we can all wear is one that is designed specifically for Helldivers. So why not wear one that we all feel included in, rather than one where you feel included in? Again, if you have deeper underlying issues of feeling excluded, this is not the place to take out on people. There are other developers that will cave and bend to your will. Unfortunately for you, Arrowhead doesn't seem to be one of those. And I don't think they're going to listen to you, because the overwhelming amount of success is not something they really want to tamper with. If anything, they're going to lean further into it. Now, there is a Helldivers 2 Twitter page called Helldivers 2 Alerts, and it's a fan page. And people seem to think that this game, or the players on it, are like angry fanboys from Call of Duty that are just living out their fascist desires that they can't in real life. And to those people, I say, first of all, I'm not a Call of Duty player, and I can prove that. You can go through my entire YouTube channel. I mostly play fighting games. But most people that I know, whether it's fighting games, whether it's people that play D&D, whether it's shooting games, whether it's horror games, have come over to Helldivers and have said that this is a fantastic game, and everyone's stuck around. And when you see people talking about don't be a fascist, don't do this, they are role-playing. How far up your own asses are you to not understand that? It's a bit of roleplay. People are leaning into the characters. They're having a bit of fun. Now, remember we were speaking about Dom earlier and how he was in charge of Destiny 2, or he had a big hand in it. Well, Destiny 2 has record low players on Steam, and it has had its worst month ever on Steam. According to Steam charts, Destiny 2 averaged 34,297 concurrent players over the last 30 days. That's the lowest since the game arrived on Steam in 2019. The game's monthly peak player numbers were also the worst it's ever been, with only 59,076 players. That is down from 68,148. And I say good. If there's people like this at the helm of these games, I mean, first of all, it shows, and secondly, this is something that will help to drive them out. If the players continue to drop off, and if we continue to not fund the games that they're involved in, they will lose their jobs. And in this economy, it might sound harsh to tell someone to lose their jobs, but maybe you shouldn't go on Twitter and start telling gamers that buy your games that they are human scum and people are trying to get rid of them in spaces where really they belong. There is also another individual called Richie DeWitt, I believe I'm saying his name correctly, who has said he promises to destroy the careers of video game company employees if they call out DEI policies. DEI is diversity, equity and inclusion, you know, our favorite thing. And in this tweet he can be seen saying, "I've been seeing more and more hateful Gamergate-esque opinions. I want to be clear on where I stand. I won't tolerate any harassment, violence or threats towards developers, minorities and women in our industry in any space that I own or have control over. I don't care about your opinions. I won't go into discussions with you. I'm not interested in explaining to you how little you know of the workings of our industry, and I'll report and block your account immediately. And if by any chance you happen to be working in this industry and you are voicing said opinions, I'll screenshot you, put you on a person list and advocate that you'll never work at a company I work for or associated with again." You know when you get those Hollywood films and they're like, "You'll never work in this town again"? It's literally that guy. This is that guy. Threatening your job because of a difference of opinions. Now, as I said, I'm half black and I'm half Greek, and I do not support this DEI nonsense, and someone like Richie can quite honestly go fuck themselves. I think, as I said, and it's the same talking point, it's really the only talking point that matters in my opinion. Money talks. Companies listen to money. People like Richie will not have a job if we vote with our wallets. But I want you guys to listen to this clip as well, because it gives more credence to the fact that these Western gaming developers and these companies are being choked by things like the ESG rating and being choked by people like Richie, and they probably feel like they're backed into corners and they can't really do anything. And so this clip kind of explains that to people that might be a little bit confused.
Well, it's not just money. Like you pointed out, different regions will offer tax credits, and these things come with strings attached. All right,
Right.
Political strings attached. And one thing that everyone needs to realize is that it's not that these studios are funding the games out of their own pocket. That would be very expensive for them. Cash is king. They will preferably go out and get money from other sources if it's cheap enough to help spread the risk of these massive titles. And so you have a lot of quid pro quo happening. And I can tell you that devs have been approaching me and giving me some inside baseball on what's been happening. And there are funding deals out there for studios, and I can't get too specific. I don't want to out my sources, that have certain strings attached. Like a company will suddenly sign with a developer, and now that developer needs to hire a DEI director and needs to go out and hire consultancy firms to gender balance their staff, or quite specifically, go out and hire companies like SBI to consult on their writing and do sensitivity reading and changes for that. And what does all this do? It boosts their ESG score. It allows them access to that funding. So ESG is not going away entirely. It's become an evil brand. People are waking up to this.
Hey, even
so you
CD
have
Projekt Red, man. Even CD Projekt Red does it.
So you have a rebranding going on right now. They're not calling it ESG, but it's still out there. And the money isn't as cheap as it was before because interest rates are up everywhere, but it's still out there, and it's still fine. This is why you look at how could a studio agree to do this? How could they do something that's so financially devastating to their games? And it's because they're kind of in this situation where that's the money they can get. And so, you have this self-perpetuating machine, and I don't think, and that's why it's kind of a death spiral that I don't think you can really escape. The only way you can escape it is to make a good game. And if you're already reliant on ESG and you're already reliant on these other fundings because your games are too damn expensive to make, you're trapped.
So essentially, what it really boils down to here, guys, is that money talks, unfortunately. I know that's been something I've been repeating in this video several times, but the reason the Helldivers 2 developers have not caved is because the overwhelming response to their actions have been positive. No politics from the right or the left, no matter where you come from. And that's what we want. And so that's how we've responded. And so the game is doing well. And I encourage people, whether this video gets a few hundred views or a few thousand views, all of you listening, start to vote with your wallets. People like Richie, people like Dom, Bare Knuckle, which is another consultancy firm that Richie works at, that is a smaller version of Sweet Baby Inc. Companies like Sweet Baby Inc., they will cease to exist, and that will be because of us. So I just wanted to bring you guys those updates. There are obviously a lot of moving parts in this story. There's a lot of discourse going on. It is being dubbed Gamergate 2. But guys, keep fighting the good fight. Do not let these worms and these snakes infest our games. Vote with your wallets. Let them know that you're listening. And eventually, we will win this battle. Take care, have a good day, and peace.